welcome to. We need to come up with a name for
I
this
know.
show. We do it so often.
I emailed it to you again this week.
Lemon nail on the head. I don't know, but it's kind of weird.
We
Hey,
were
good
at
to
one
see
point we
you.
were going to call it a DM, like sliding up in your DMs because you're Don and I'm Mike. Like that was
We
not
can
bad.
do that. Let's
Yeah.
do that. Slide in your DMs.
Sliding into your DMs.
All right. So listen, sir. We don't want people to get the wrong idea. He's a married man, and so am I, and not to each
Yeah.
other. Okay. So here,
We'd be a
here
power couple on Substack, Don.
Substack power. Well, you're crazy. Regardless of whatever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's Substack, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, smash the screen, hit the thumbs up, the hearts, all of that, and follow Mike Nellis and Don Lemon on all of our platforms. So thank you for joining us for this program of sliding into your DMs. So here's to, can we talk about this? It was just so ridiculous. They want to, the Congress wants to interview, or they have subpoenaed, or right, Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, to speak or to be questioned in front of them. And it's like, why do you want Bill Clinton? Like, what is going on here? We are literally in the other, we've jumped the shark and we're on the other side of the mirror, whatever you call that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
Through the
Republicans are.
looking glass.
Yeah, they're singling out Bill and Hillary Clinton. They're the only ones who have been subpoenaed and asked to testify. And I think it's a Republican attempt to distract from Trump's involvement in the Epstein files. They want to make Clinton the scapegoat so Trump can get away with it. And Clinton yesterday was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're willing to testify publicly, and we're willing to testify when everybody else testifies, including Trump. And I think that's a pretty reasonable position from the Clintons. I think they should testify because Clinton is in the files. I think he needs to answer for that. But so is Trump. So Trump needs to answer for that under oath. And like he can't avoid this anymore.
Well, I agree 100%. But the person who really needs to go in front of Congress is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so James Comer is saying, and I saw that soundbite. A reporter said, "Well, why not Trump?" And he said, "Trump has answered all these questions." It's like, what? Trump hasn't answered any questions.
No, and he's never been under oath either, which I think is important. The guy lies like 10,000 times a day, so we got to get him under oath to talk about his involvement with Epstein. And we've seen in those leaked depositions from a long time ago that when he's under oath, he talks very differently and is much more intentional.
Yeah. You know what I want to? I agree with what Bill and Hillary Clinton said, but I also agree with Bill Clinton. With his initial response was, "Just release all the files. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to say anything or do anything. Just release all the files." He's not the one out here saying don't release the files. Donald Trump is the one out here saying don't release the files.
Right.
And so I think when other people, you're right. When other people speak, when Donald Trump speaks, I believe that Bill Clinton should say, when Donald Trump answers questions in front of the Congress or the Senate, or whoever it is, a Judiciary Committee, whoever it is, then I will do it as well.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't really have to do it after that. He could just say,
No, I think he should answer questions. I just think it should be only if everybody else is going to do it too. Like singling him out is bullshit. And just crass politics from the Republicans. They're trying to turn this around into a benefit for them, but it doesn't look good for anybody when 1,000 young boys or girls have been abused and trafficked and nobody's held accountable for it. So.
Why do you think well, I guess you're right. I was going to say, why do you think he needs to answer questions? Because I don't see his information, and so far in anything that I've seen released, like you see pictures, they're out of context or in a pool or whatever.
Right.
But I don't see anything in what has been released so far that would force me to believe that it is of utmost importance that Bill Clinton goes and testifies or answers questions. But it would be good if he did, and I think it would help with, obviously with transparency. But so far, the most incriminating things I see are for who.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody needs to testify. I think everybody's got to answer questions about their involvement. Like it's not partisan politics. Like obviously I'm the partisan hack on the call here working for the Democrats, but like, there's so many people who've been hurt, trafficked, and it's important that we get to the bottom of this. And it's more important they release the files, in my opinion. Like not releasing the files is a sin. And they're continuing to conceal it. I mean, that auto worker got fired yesterday for calling Trump a pedophile protector, but he was 100% right about that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
The auto worker got fired. I didn't know that. You're giving
suspended. Excuse me, suspended
for what?
For calling Trump a pedophile protector.
He is a pedophile protector.
I know. Apparently, you can get suspended for telling the truth.
Is there outrage behind it? Because I'm outraged.
Yeah. There's a GoFundMe page that they launched that's already raised $200,000 for him.
Well, the guy was here's the thing, Donald Trump is never confronted like that. Donald Trump only does friendly media, or he does it in front of the White House press corps, reporters that he knows won't push back, or if they push back too far, then he will call their bosses and try to get them fired, right? Or they
Yeah.
will lose access. But he never is in front of the public, and either he's at an event at Mar-a-Lago, or he's at a Trump rally, or he goes to his golf courses or wherever it is. But he goes to very Trump friendly places and very Trump friendly media. And so to be called out like that in public, if he were actually out there amongst the people all the time, he would get called out a lot more.
Yeah. Well, and
They're protecting him.
if you've watched it, like he was for a while going to like every sporting event that he could go to because they thought that would be good for him, and he was showing up
Oh
at
yeah.
like pro wrestling events and the Super Bowl and college football games, but he stopped doing that, and the reason he stopped is because he's getting booed everywhere he goes. So anytime he's close to any regular person, he gets a piece of their mind on the economy, on foreign policy, on Epstein, and he can't handle that. I mean, he's the vainest, tiniest man who has ever sat in that chair by far.
Mike Mike Nellis, let me ask you. So what is it? What the gumption that James Comer would have to
Yeah.
subpoena Bill Clinton and not Donald Trump? What is that? As I say to you all the time, what's wrong with your people?
What's wrong with that with those people? I'm not a Republican, but no,
No, you know what I
look,
mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. I just always want to deflect when you want to start talking about me being white. So because I'm as I've told you before, I'm Italian. To Stephen Miller, I don't count as white.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I think it's a pure politics play. They think that anytime they can bring up Bill Clinton's name, it's going to make it look better for the Republicans that they're fighting the good fight on the Epstein files. But it's all baked in. Like they have completely, totally fucked themselves over on this with the way that Pam Bondi and Trump and the rest of them have handled it. So there's really no getting out of it, but it's to gin up the base and just give them another story that makes it look good for them. But no, they should subpoena Trump. And Comer's saying you can't subpoena Trump, which is horseshit. You can absolutely subpoena Trump. Make him defy you. That's what I
Yeah.
would. And I
Well,
think the Democrats on the oversight committee should force a subpoena on Trump. They should do what they did before to even force the investigation in the first place.
I was surprised. I was watching a report on it as I was getting ready for my live this morning, and I clicked on to something. And when James Comer said, "You can't, y'all know you can't subpoena or question." I think he said like question a president, a sitting president, and nobody said no. That's not true. Like no one
Yeah.
said it, and there were like a panel of people, and I'm like, "That's not true. Of course you can."
Yeah.
Like what's wrong with you?
I mean, you absolutely can subpoena a president. I mean, somewhat famously, Bill Clinton was subpoenaed and lied under oath about having an affair with Monica Lewinsky that led to his impeachment, which was ridiculous. But like, somewhat famously, this already happened to Bill Clinton, which I get his reticence to be the only one who's subpoenaed here. But you know,
Yeah. Do you think that would accomplish what would that accomplish so by for Donald Trump? Because that would be I think the most embarrassing thing for him,
yeah, it would
to
be
be
it would be a nightmare. It would be a nightmare. I mean, Trump can never allow himself to speak under oath about Epstein because I don't think he'd be able to talk about it long enough without lying. But also, if he told the truth is devastating. Like, let's talk about the available possibilities here. He's either at minimum covering up for pedophiles who have given him money and support in the past, or he is actively involved in those crimes. And I would argue that at a minimum over here too, Trump knew what Epstein was doing. He absolutely knew what Epstein was doing because we know that Epstein was stealing girls from Trump. Like we know that, like
Mm,
from
mm.
masseuses and stuff like that. So he's either complicit or he's involved. I would argue he's likely to be both. But they can never put him under oath for that.
Wow, you believe that?
Yeah, yeah. Because otherwise they're acting guilty. Generally speaking, if you act guilty, you are guilty. So like, you wanna hear a stupid example of this? My son got a
Yeah,
new card game, and before we went for school this morning, we were playing the card game,
I'm
and
listening. I'm listening.
it involves putting cards face down, and I've watched him a few times cheat and look up, and so I was in the other room, like, making breakfast, and I walked into the room, and he had set the cards up, and he was like, "Dad, let's play the game. I'm really excited to play the game." And I sit down, and I rearranged the cards, and he got mad at me. He was like, "Why are you rearranging the cards?" I go, "'Cause I think you cheated." And he's just arguing that he didn't cheat with me, and it's all over his face that I caught him. And, like, that's what Trump is like. I mean, he acts like a 5-year-old kid that's trying to cheat, and we all fucking know. We all fucking know what he's done.
Well, if you didn't cheat when you put the card, why would he care if you shuffle them?
Exactly, that's what I said to him. And so, I guess you get your hand in the cookie jar and I see you, like, I'm gonna know that you stole a cookie. Like, Trump's got crumbs all over him. He's a slob on this stuff. So
Okay, so I want to ask you about this, but it's a bit sensitive.
okay.
Um, and have you seen this thing? It's going around the internet. I don't know what's true and what's not. The Sasha Riley thing.
No, I've heard the name and it's been on my list to like look it up, but I get a lot of people who are commenting on it. I haven't seen like a major media outlet really report on it yet.
Yeah, I
Like
haven't seen a major media
what's
outlet, but
what's going on? What is it?
it's gone viral. It is this guy who is a member of the military,
Okay.
and apparently he's saying that he was trafficked. Was a kid trafficked when he was a kid, and that he is implicating a couple of Republicans like Jim Jordan and Donald Trump and others. I haven't looked at it. I looked at it this morning and I said, maybe I'll report on this. I'm not sure, but um, let's see. I want to make sure that I get it right. Here it is right here. And so Sasha Riley, an alleged Epstein survivor, testimony a number of audio recordings purportedly from a man named Sasha Riley have surfaced on social media making claims about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Jeffrey Epstein was seen. Let's see the scandal. A number of audio recordings reportedly from a man named Sasha Riley have surfaced on social media making claims of Jeffrey Epstein scandal. However, the claims made in the recordings remain unverified and have not been authenticated by any courts of law or law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
According to social media posts, Riley is a war veteran who fought the Iraq War and claimed that he escaped being trafficked as a child. The recordings appear to be a conversation between Riley and an interviewer. The other man in the recordings asks Riley questions about the scandal, and Riley appears to testify what he knows. And so let me see what it says here. I just want to get the people who, the folks who are in here, so I can tell you who he's implicating. But anyways, the thing is like, so it hasn't been verified and hasn't been authenticated, but it has become a social media thing. Like it has gone super viral.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
gone super viral. Yeah.
I mean, until it gets verified in some way, I would just kind of caution everybody to be careful with that stuff. But
Right.
like, it's to me, it's the consequence of them not taking this investigation seriously. Like, and by the way, it's two administrations, in my opinion, that have not taken this seriously because Biden, I mean, there was no indictments under Biden, right? And they didn't release the files under Biden. I think that's a fair critique. Now they weren't finished with the investigation, but like I think we've had multiple administrations that have not investigated this the way that we should. Nothing like what's happened under Bondi, where she's just straight up covering up for the president. But um, if they had taken it seriously, people wouldn't be believing rumors on the internet. But people don't trust the government right now. Why would they?
Most of the people say that. Look, the people who I have watched on social media, they do caution. At least they have some, sense to caution and say, I don't know if any of this is true. You tell me, but it is bubbling up. And
Yeah,
so I'm coming at it from why has this garnered so much attention? Why is it that, and is it actually in the Epstein files? There are people who are saying, yeah, it's actually in the Epstein files, but I don't know. It's
yeah.
this is a tough one.
I would guess if they were actually in the Epstein files, we would have seen them in that first tranche, right? Or are they saying that this leaked and it's in the files that Bondi won't release? Is that what they're saying?
No, apparently I think it's been there for a while, but no one has really paid attention to it.
Hmm.
That's what they're
That's
saying. And
possible.
apparently, look, it's bizarre because I should know more about it. But apparently there was it was like a snuff thing and somebody was shot, and that's the allegations that he's making.
Yeah.
And
Well,
apparently they're saying he's a decorated war veteran. So anyways, yeah.
yeah. There's that other crazy story about like and I've just seen people have commented on it. I don't believe it's true because I've never seen it. I don't know that it's not true, but I don't believe that's true. Is about something about like Trump impregnating a woman as part of the Epstein files, and they threw her baby over a boat in Lake Michigan, and like it's stuff that like sounds
Yeah,
insane. But like, how
insane.
many things have we talked about in the last 10 years that sound fucking insane and then turn out to be true? So I don't know.
Look, again, we don't know, but I will tell you that when this administration, when anybody's not transparent, any person, any group or whatever, that you're only left to your own devices, right? To
Right.
think about like, what does this mean? What happens? According to the testimony summary, Riley claims he is willing to testify against several well-known individuals, including President Donald Trump, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, and Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. These claims are presented as allegations only, currently circulating through social media posts, interviews, and a Substack publication, not through official indictments or verified court records. Again, so, but um, it's crazy. There are 6 unedited recordings reportedly, um, and the testimony describes alleged trafficking of impoverished children under 13. Again, this is according to the thing. None of these people have been, we don't know. Claims of the R word, torture, and murder, allegations of forced participation in child, films, claims that a child was shot and killed during a snuff film, assertions that the acts occurred within the Trump Epstein network. Again, I the thing for me is that unless you're transparent, then people are just going to start thinking and coming up with scenarios, right? Coming up with things.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that how quickly these things can spread. You remember Pizzagate, which turned out not to be true, right? And
Right.
then, which put people in jeopardy and the business in jeopardy. And so, and this also puts these people, the politicians, in jeopardy. It is not good for them to be implicated in or spoken about in any of this stuff. And the people who are mentioned here, who I mentioned, they should be pushing for transparency so that they are not connected to this, and whether it is a rumor or true or whatever, or
Yeah.
whether it's a rumor or if there's no truth to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have any of them responded to it at all?
Not that I know of. Again,
Okay.
I just thought about it when we were, when we started, because we were talking about the Epstein files and Bill Clinton and Donald Trump and about truth and transparency. And it made me think about this Sasha Riley story that all
Yeah.
of a sudden I wake up and my algorithm is filled with, Sasha Riley stories from people who are saying they're concerned and they're outraged and they haven't been able to sleep, etc.
Yeah.
After listening to the recordings.
It does remind me of Pizzagate, which was horseshit, right? And I think, RP's got a good quote in the comments here that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I will
Right.
say though, for crimes like this, when you're a little kid, like it's hard for you to have evidence. And we have so it's just going to be an accusation that floats out there. And I don't know if they'll be able to prove it. But you know what it kind of reminds me of is that sort of like early days before the Boston Globe broke the story about the Catholic priests abusing
Yeah.
little kids, where it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
man, you
Yeah.
would, because I grew up Catholic, and like every now and again, you would hear a story from somebody that sounded insane. And you'd be like, I just can't imagine that Father
There's
so and
no
so would
way
do
that
that.
that would
There's
happen.
no way that would happen. And then sure enough, it was like, there it is. So what you have to hope is one of two things are happening. Like one, somebody in federal law enforcement is taking it seriously, which in this DOJ we know isn't going to be the case. Or somebody in the media is doing some actual journalism and can try to break it through. But I mean, you know this better than I do. I mean, the media and the journalism world is super broken, just super broken. And there aren't enough local investigative reporters that are doing that type of work. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm asking the folks in the chat, anybody who's watching, and if you're in the chat, let us know. Have you heard about this Sasha Riley story? What do you think about it? Eddie says yes. RP2112 is always on it. It's like
Yeah.
Pizzagate saying extraordinary claims, as you said, the Carl Sagan quote. How does anyone know what is in the Epstein files? That's true. That's true. I haven't heard it, but I'm not online much. But if you're on social media, if you scroll through, I don't know how it came up on mine, but it just started coming up, and I'm like, geez, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But you're right, no one
It
is
feels it
reporting on
feels like it started in Blue Sky World and then it just kind of bubbled up and now I'm seeing it
it. Yeah,
on threads and in my Substack comments and stuff like that. But I don't know. I always want to be careful with this stuff. I got to have somebody that I trust that
I agree.
reports on this stuff. I don't know.
I
Not
agree.
that the extent that I trust any reporter anymore. I don't even know. It's hard to figure out your news diet anymore.
Yeah, I agree. But look, I think we should be careful with it. Again, we don't know if any of this is true. We're talking about how rumors can spread on the internet and how this stuff goes viral. But again,
Yeah.
I think that's even more of a reason and evidence that this administration needs to be more transparent when it comes
Yeah.
to the Epstein files.
Well,
So,
more transparent implies that they've been transparent in any way. So they just need to be transparent, period. Because I've never seen a more guilty group of people in my life. It's just unbelievable.
um, so I got to tell you that I woke up really, I went to bed really worried, and I woke up even more worrieder. I know that's not a word. And really just outraged about these ICE goons
Yeah.
who appear to be more emboldened, and they don't care after the death of this woman. I think when last time we were on, it was breaking news, right?
Yeah.
The last time we did a show
You
together,
broke the news to me.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now here's where we are. But now I think these guys are like, oh, we can get away with murder. I mean, we can get
Yeah.
away with
Well,
it.
I
That's
mean, evidently they can.
the
I
evidence,
mean,
and no investigation,
yeah.
Mike.
No, I mean, according to JD Vance, they have total and complete immunity to do anything that they want. And like that's why the Republican Party responded the way that they did. It's why Kristi Noem, came out so hard against Renee Good, calling her a domestic terrorist, and JD Vance came out and Donald Trump came out. They want they want everybody who's in ICE to know we're going to have your back no matter what you do, because they're building themselves a private army. Like that's what it is, and they're spending like tens of millions of dollars to recruit people at gun shows and NASCAR races and all kinds of very conservative coded spaces. So they're building a conservative coded police force full of people that can't pass their background checks. A lot of people aren't passing their drug checks, and they're giving them guns and a badge anyway. And 6 weeks of training, which isn't enough.
Do you
6
watch
weeks
these
of
guys?
training wouldn't be enough to be a fucking mall cop, to be honest with you. So,
It's true. I mean, they get 47 days. We talked about that, right?
yeah, oh yeah, yes. That's
They get
crazy.
47 days. It's supposed to be, isn't it supposed to be like 5 months or something?
I mean, I think it used to be like 6 to 8 months depending, but, like, my dad was at Quantico for, like, a year when he would before he became an FBI agent, and the other thing, by the way, is he wasn't immediately, like, tossed out into doing active enforcement stuff. He started at the bottom, like, he was doing paperwork and just driving his car around and checking neighborhoods and stuff like that. He wasn't You don't immediately throw somebody into the deep end when they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Well, this administration does.
I know,
And
well, yeah,
not
you
only
should have, I
that,
should say, yeah.
yeah, and not only that, remember the goon who killed the woman, um, had it said something similar had happened to him before. Apparently, reportedly, he had been dragged or something, had an incident with a
Yeah,
car, and they put him back. And JD Vance used that as some sort of evidence or proof that he would fear for his life. The thing is like, then why is he out there? Why are you
right,
putting him back in a situation that could put him in jeopardy of that happening again?
yeah,
That is negligence on their part, and it's also bad training on his part. It looks like, because when I look at the video, I don't see him in front of the car, especially when he's doing the firing. He is not. If you look at the slow mode version and where his feet are and all of that that's been done, to me, I don't see it. And even if
right.
he was in front of the car, uh, he shouldn't have been, because that's not what the training tells him.
Right.
And
Their
so,
training the ICE training specifically tells them not to stand in front of a car. So he already did that. He was also holding his phone, capturing content, which I think is crazy. He wasn't wearing a body cam that was on, and they escalated the situation. The other officers trying to open up the door, you can see that, which scared the shit out of Renee Good. And then one officer told her to leave and get out of the street, and another officer told her to get out of the car. So there was no chain of command. They escalated the situation. There was no reason for him to pull a gun, let alone discharge it. It's
yeah,
just we have to live in a society where, and I'm pro cop. I grew up in a law enforcement household. I know how difficult and scary that job is, but we can't live in a society where any law enforcement official, ICE or otherwise, can't be held accountable when they make the wrong call. It's a good
yeah.
shoot or a bad shoot is what my dad says. And so like this is a bad shoot. It's just
Well,
yeah.
it's just bad. Corey Imberson in the chat. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what I was going to say. It's To me, it's suspicious that they don't want to have an investigation. The way they handled it after not allowing anyone to give her medical treatment or go to check on her, and he left the scene. You see him
Yeah.
leaving and getting into his car. They towed the car without processing the scene, and someone said they hauled the car. I saw in the reporting somewhere that they allegedly just haul the car out of the state immediately.
Yep. Yep. And let's keep in
So
mind, why were they there in the first place? Because they're indiscriminately grabbing people and kidnapping them because of the color of their skin. Like, don't
yeah,
forget that for a second. Like, these are not regular law enforcement officers. They were not FBI agents investigating counterterrorism or drug trafficking. They were not your local cop trying to keep the streets safe. They were creating chaos and they were creating fear. And you can feel however you want about the way Renee Good decided to protest. I personally would not park my car in the middle of the street, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that because it's dangerous. But she didn't deserve to die. And they have bungled this investigation. They have refused to do an actual investigation, and that would not be the case if they thought it was a good shoot. If they thought it was a justified action by the police, by the ICE agent, they would be doing a full investigation, releasing a report, handling it by the book. And that's not what they're doing. It's a clear cover-up.
Yeah. Diane M. Daniels in the chat says abolish ICE. That's what I said this morning. I think they need to abolish ICE. I never would have said that as a journalist. I don't know if I ever would have said that before, but I think they need to abolish ICE. I think that they're goons and they're terrorists.
They're going to have to, at minimum, they're going to have to fire thousands of officers that they've hired over this 4-year period. And they're going to have to, I mean, if it were me, I would merge it with a much more professional law enforcement agency like the FBI or something like that. Make sure that they have clear policies for recruiting, who they bring in, how they train them, how they're going to treat people. Because the other thing about this is Barack Obama and Joe Biden in their first years deported more people. They deported more people than Donald Trump did in either of his first 2 terms. They did it without riots. They did it without targeting people. Like,
Right.
There are folks who are here that need to be removed because they've committed an act, drug trafficking, violence, stuff like that. I get that. But this didn't happen under the last 2 presidents. It didn't happen under George W. Bush either, who deported a shit ton of people. So this doesn't have to happen.
Well, he wants his numbers to be higher than
But they're not, though. The
know.
numbers are anemic, absolutely anemic. All the chaos in Chicago, they only really arrested like 600 or 700 people for all that chaos. They're bad at it. Now, maybe they're going to get better at it, but it's fucked up.
This administration is incompetent, Mike. And then, but look, I'm surprised that you were like, they need to merge it with a better group like the FBI. Do you think the FBI is competent now?
Well,
I think they got rid of all the competent people.
office.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But now they've gotten rid of the competent people there.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, we would have to reform the FBI. We have to fix everything. Like, there's no bottom to the shit that we have to fix. I will tell you, though, on them being incompetent, if their goal is to deport people, they're incompetent. If their goal is to create fear and chaos and exert their power in democratic cities and build themselves a private army, they're doing a pretty good job of that. And so, like, it depends on what they're actually trying to do. What does Stephen Miller actually want to accomplish?
Well, Mike Nellis, I got to tell you, with your new set there, I feel like I need to whip out like a glass of scotch, and because it's very moody, very bro-y. Is this your den? What is this?
Yeah, this is my man cave. Welcome to my man cave. No, it's funny though, because last week you made just a small crack about the lighting in it. And then my whole team, like, immediately afterwards, were like trying to fix it because I have my buddy Nick here who's helping me. And it was hilarious watching him work. It was like you lit a fire under his ass. So if you've got critique, give it to them now, because they'll make it better for next week.
What did I tell you? I could see the lighting and the reflection in the picture.
Yeah, we're going to fix that. We have a new frame coming.
What did I say about the lighting?
It was something about like the color of my skin. You were like, I needed to look warmer or something. And like afterwards, he was like furiously like fixing everything. He was like so pissed. It was hilarious.
I do it. Well, don't you want someone to tell you?
Yeah, 100%. Well, and I've got that nice Italian complexion. I want people to see that and not the Irish side of me where I look pale as shit. So
let me put it this way: only a friend tells you if you have a boog. If someone doesn't like you, they just leave it there.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mike Nellis. It's good to see you. I'll see you next week. Be well.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You too.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.